One thing I've always loved about Korean dramas is this. They start with one small moment, and somehow that one moment changes everything. Into the beautiful you, admiration becomes the courage to chase what once felt impossible. In Pinocchio, when a painful experience becomes the reason someone dedicates his life to seeking the truth. Looking back, I think that's exactly what happened to me. I never imagined that one ordinary day and one country I had never been to would quietly shape the person I'm still becoming. I was born in a small town and grew up in another small city in Indonesia. Back then, my world felt small. Korea felt impossibly far away. If you had met me in 2009, you probably would have known me as a little girl who couldn't stop listening to Shiny and Girls' Generation. Like many people, my journey with Korea began with K-pop. I collected albums, saved up for concerts, buffed official light sticks. And thankfully, my parents never saw it as just a phase. They saw it as a curiosity, as something that encouraged me to keep learning and dreaming. Years passed, but somehow, Korea never left my life. It was in the songs I still played, the K-dramas I still watch, the kimbap I learned to make, and the skincare on my shelf. Also the travel videos that made me wonder what everyday life in Korea really looked like. One day, I looked around my room and realized Korea had quite become part of my everyday life. Without realizing it, my relationship with Korea was changing. It was no longer something I simply enjoyed. It became something I genuinely wanted to understand. So, I started learning Korean. Somehow, I even passed topic 1 before I realized how much I'd already learned. Then I started reading books like Korea, the Impossible Country and The New Korea because I wanted to understand the country beyond what I saw on a screen. Korea even became one of the reasons I took learning English more seriously. Because every new language opened another door to another book, another documentary, another story, and another lesson. But somewhere along the way, something changed. I stopped asking what's happening and started asking why. Like, why are Korean streets so clean? Why does public transportation work so well? Why do public spaces feel so comfortable? Also, how did a country that once struggled after the Korean War become one of the world's leading economies today? Those questions slowly changed the way I saw Korea. I no longer looked at Korea only through its music, dramas, food, or fashion. I started looking at the people, the communities, the culture, and the invisible system that quietly shape everyday life. That's when I realized I wasn't just learning about Korea anymore. I was learning how a society builds a better quality of life. Unexpectedly, Korea also helped me appreciate something I already had in my own life. I'm a public administration graduate. And to be honest, there were times when I questioned whether I had chosen the right major. But Korea gave me a completely different perspective. As I became more curious about Korean society, I realized that many of the questions I kept asking were connected to what I had been studying all along. Public transportation, waste management, education, community participation, and also public services. These weren't just interesting facts about Korea. They were real examples of how culture, people, and public policy work together to shape everyday life. It wasn't public administration that helped me understand Korea. It was Korea that helped me appreciate public administrations. Since then, whenever I learn about education, public spaces, community participation, or quality of life, Korea is often the first place I look, not because it's perfect, and certainly not because it's the only country worth learning from, but because Korea was the country that taught me how to ask better questions. it became the place that reminds me that meaningful change isn't built overnight. It's built through culture, through trust, through responsibility, through countless small actions repeated every single day. And maybe that's why Korea is still part of my everyday life. Not only in my playlist, not only in the dramas I watch, not only in the language I'm still learning, but in the way I keep learning, and the way I see people, and the way I see society, and in the way I choose to believe that change is always possible. I've never actually been to Korea, but somehow it already feels familiar. That's why I created Indiana's little space, not because I want to tell people that Korea is perfect, and definitely not because I'm an expert. I'm still learning too. This is simply my little space to share the Korea I've come to know, beyond K-pop, beyond K-dramas, beyond trending places. A Korea filled with people, communities, culture, and everyday stories that quietly shape the way a society lives. If Korea has taught me anything, it is that even the smallest things can hold meaningful lessons, and I hope this little space inspires someone else to look beyond the surface, just like I once did. I've never been to Korea, yet somehow it has already become part of who I am and one of my biggest dreams. Maybe I'll study there. Maybe I'll visit as a traveler, or maybe life will surprise me in a way I can't imagine yet. I don't know, but I do know this. Long before I ever got there, it had already given me something much more valuable: curiosity, hope, and the courage to believe that meaningful change is possible. So, if someone asked me, where does Korea live in your everyday life? I'd probably smile, 'cause I don't think Korea lives in just one place. It lives in the music that still comforts me, the stories that still inspire me, the language I'm still learning, the books I'm still reading, the dreams I'm still chasing. But most importantly, Korea lives in the way I see the world. It taught me that meaningful change isn't a miracle. It's built through culture, through trust, through responsibility, through countless small actions repeated every single day. Maybe that is why Korea has stayed with me for more than a half of my life. Not because I never stopped loving K-pop or K-dramas, but because they led me to something much bigger and meaningful for me. A lifelong curiosity to keep learning, and the hope that if a society can grow, then maybe so can we, and maybe so can I. So, this is a story about a little girl from a small town in Indonesia who first discovered Korea through a TV screen. She never imagined that one day Korea would become more than just a place she dreamed of visiting. Over the years, it quietly became part of her journey, shaping the way she learns, the way she sees the world, and the person she's still becoming. And somehow, she can't wait to see where this journey will take her next.